producer. That's Sandra.
I'm Sandra Mayfrank.
Premiere. Director. And also director, David Allensworth.
Hi, I'm Aurora Heimbach.
And she plays the evil Erin.
Amelia Petrie.
And
I'm younger.
yeah, she's the younger.
All right, so we're gonna open it up to questions in a little bit, but I would love for you guys to talk a little bit about why you chose to have a deaf character and how difficult was it to find actors that could sign, and did they have to learn it? And did you have to learn it, or did you already know?
Yeah, I'm not very good at sign language. I had my mind on a lot of details I had to deal with, and so does Monier. But the deaf character kind of came as one, an inspiration from several of us have deaf members in the community, in the deaf community. Eric's wife is partially deaf, and Matt actually, Matt Meyer, producer as well. He's got severe hearing loss as well. So that was kind of in our kind of community, and I think the deaf idea was really more of a scare tactic to begin with, and we thought that was, you can't run from what you can't hear, but as we got into it and as we got on the set, it became more apparent that it was kind of a show of inclusiveness, because as we wrote it, as Eric and I worked together with Monier on getting the deaf element in it, we realized that to show the audience that these characters kind of go back a long way, and if one of them is deaf and is the girlfriend of one of the characters, they're all gonna maybe over time learn to sign. And so that was a really cool thing that we discovered in this idea, that we'd have a bunch of characters who are hearing who learn sign language, and you could see how seamless it was for them. Now all of these actors, except for one who played Freddie, he's also an interpreter. Everybody else did not know sign language whatsoever. So kudos to you guys for learning sign language. On set we had an ASL master to teach them and keep it authentic. And we also had interpreters on set as well to make sure the communication flowed nicely. So we really paid a lot of attention to that detail, because we didn't want to mess that up. I mean, it's one of those things that you can get that wrong real easily on screen and get a lot of people upset, and it just comes off as fake. So for us, I hope that we came off as authentic and organic to the story.
Nice.
Long-winded answer.
During the movie, there's all the soul taking.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about how that came about.
So, the soul taking. Okay, so our demon is Beelzebub, and Beelzebub is known as the Lord of the Flies. I don't know. Show of hands if anybody knows what Beelzebub is. I don't know, but oh yeah, we got one. One of the princes of hell, and known as Lord of the Flies. So we wanted to kind of incorporate a kind of a fly-like attack. I don't know if you've ever seen a fly eat, but they stick out this gnarly tongue called a proboscis, and it like sucks out whatever it wants. And we felt that this was in line with the theme of who Beelzebub was, and there was flies in the movie, and all those little flies that you saw were actually visual effects. So we didn't actually have acting flies. But and action, go! So, but that was the idea, to create this kind of fly-like attack, and we had a really great visual effects team to carefully put that together, right? So I hope that kind of looked real.
I would love to know how the actors felt with this added, everyone having to sign, and so not only are you acting, but you're also got this extra thing, and working with a director who couldn't sign a whole lot. What was that like?
Yeah. Well, you want to answer?
Yes. as David mentioned, I knew no sign language before I started, but we were really lucky to have great people teaching us. Alexandra Wales, Mulaney. On set we had wonderful interpreters. One of the actors, Craig, was wonderful.
Yeah.
Christopher
Matthews, yeah.
Yeah, and I think they really set us up for success and made sure we knew our lines, how to sign them in the best way to convey what we were saying. Then we had Mulaney making sure everything looked good on film.
Yeah. And there was emotion attached to it. We discovered that, especially when you saw Toby in his moment of remembering his friend Kimberly, and he got emotion, and like you felt it in the signing, which was a really great discovery.
Well, yeah,
like
it was another layer on top of it.
Sure.
So, kind of that, like dance or choreography, to add that on top was a challenge, but it was a really great challenge.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find a way that, okay, sorry, I'm trying to face the deaf here. So one of the things here was, having actual ASL that was natural. I'm deaf, so, it's not something where I was lip reading all the way. It's that idea of the mistakes that happen with lip reading and not being able to do it well. So, I've had hearing friends growing up, and, they do tend to sign with me, and they'll sim-com, so they'll voice and sign at the same time. And David, the concept was just natural. It was, being able to work one-on-one. Why would you have to lip read? So, it's being able to just sign and turning your voices off. And it's tired of that, the one-on-one. And so we had a discussion about having that deaf involvement in the inclusion. We try to make it more normal and more regular. So how, as far as would that affect the hearing actors? I mean, how would it be more natural or more normal? If they are skilled, if they're able to communicate, good chemistry, and and not have those excuses. It's an inspiration. And so as compared to before, so now I think it's just a good thing for us to be able to advance and have that all inclusion and the natural communication, the new quote unquote normal. So normal, going back to that term, the character would be able to not say what seems normal, but it would be more in depth. So now you don't have to worry about trying to voice or, not deaf culture, but it's just everything. And, so I didn't want to point out that it was that I was deaf. I didn't want to be that outsider. It was an all-inclusive group. So there was no, where, I felt like I was a victim or that I was alone. What am I going to do? How am I going to live? Oh my God, how am I going to save my life? I can't speak, I can't hear. Just a thought, that normal. So this movie was easy to be able to add, a voiceover, or, whatever we could. It's just crazy how with, the movie still has a hard time with, deaf actresses or actors, or whether they're hard of hearing. It's being able to include deaf. Why can't you? Just give me the opportunity, I even have an interpreter that's there, and everything would work out great. And all I have to do is act. We just need more of that. We need that growth. Like A Quiet Place, the movie Quiet Place. And so we need many more. We need to have the deaf culture included in movies. And so that, it's beautiful when it's successful. So we need more of that.
Wonderful. Let's take some questions from the
Yeah, please.
audience.
Anybody have any thoughts about, not just on the deaf angle, but, Yeah, how many shooting days? We shot 21 days and a few pickups. And they were very cold days, I'll tell you, with no electricity. Oh, no running water in the house at all.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And no heat
In the picture.
in the picture.
Freezing cold.
And February and March, yeah.
Oh, sorry. You know, it was really cold. You know, and there was like that shivering.
Yes.
So there was one moment, there was one part where they had to take that off, and it was late at night and outside. I mean, I don't even know how long it was. It was good, and but just the idea that imagining with them, with the actor that was outside with
Brandon.
the bat and shirtless.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was shirtless in the cold. He was like 10 degrees. 10 degrees out playing baseball outside. And we did like 40 takes. Any other questions?
Did you find it very challenging to, when you had them, turn into the demon? Like, was that the most challenging part, or?
For the actress, or?
When you just visually, when you decided, okay, now we're turning her into the demon, and,
Yeah, we had
your process when you thought about that.
Yeah, we wanted to change her attitude. Monier and I worked hard on trying to figure out how to turn this character into a new character. She immediately, as soon as the demon went inside, she was on the ground, and she came up, and then you saw her eyes right away, and you knew she was someone different. And then we had to identify what this demon was caring about, which is excess and things that are of sensory, things that excite the senses, right? Eating and sex and everything else that gets it really excited. And so we had to work with Kate, our Grace, very closely on how to turn her into that. And then we had a good makeup team that Aurora got really close with too, that helped make that feel, it wasn't just like the blood here, it was like the makeup in the eyes and the sunken in kind of demon-y feel really contributed to that character while on set. So it was, it was a good change.
Yes,
Yeah.
I thought that was great, and especially how you used the sensory part, and that, you didn't just make her become a demon, it seemed like she gradually
Yeah,
became a demon.
yeah. We took some risks. What do we all care about? In senses wise, right? We care about what we eat and what we feel, and then there's sex, and then you have to explore it to some degree. And she couldn't, for lack of a better word, get off. I mean, it was like nobody could satisfy her until she had to do it herself, and then with her fellow demon. So it was, and Eric has always pointed out, we were considering cutting that forest scene, and Eric is like, you know what? You've never seen demons do what demons do. Right? So,
Because what would demons really do?
Yeah.
If they come back in a body, they would want to feel everything then and now and get it, and so that was our goal. And they did it.
Yes, Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious.
It's part 7, Fast and Furious.
But also from a production standpoint, some of the things we hadn't worked out, like the soul eating, we sort of had to just hurry up and do it, and then kind of work that out in post.
Yeah, that's true. We shot, admittedly we should mention, when Eric wrote the script and we were discussing what is that soul-taking moment, we originally had what you've seen in movies like, some kind of,
Harry Potter.
yeah, like the Harry Potter thing where you see the black shadows, transferring between, and that would happen. And then in the script, actually, and I think Sandy had pointed out, that it was like more of a banshee scream, like just really loud, and that, but that she couldn't hear it, so that it wouldn't really affect her as much. But as we got to post, and we're an independent film, and I know a lot of you are in the same boat, it's like we just couldn't afford to do such big things with our visual effects. And I think that our theme of keeping the effects in a more organic kind of environment, don't have like lightning come out of their mouths and eyes and all that kind of stuff. We wanted to feel like it's there and like in the moment, and so we came to the the Fly Proboscis thing, where it's just like a single entity, And we built that. We built the visual effects team built the 3D model of the flies per buses. Really gross.
Thank you, Bob.
Any other thoughts, questions? Up there? Yes.
So my question is for Sandra. Sorry, I know that the interpreter is trying to copy stuff. Okay, perfect. For Sandra, as far as having the hearing team, how long did it take for them to learn sign language? And how long did that affect, or for the filming, how long did it affect for that?
It was about 3 months for all the actors to learn the sign language. And we also did very intense rehearsals. So in the rehearsal process prior to that, they learned the sign language, and then we did, was it over a month of rehearsals?
I feel like it's a month.
Yeah, it was about a month of rehearsals.
No,
we did.
really, oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, thank you. So really what helped was 4 weeks. 4 weeks the actors were staying in the same household.
That's right.
And so once the filming was done, we'd all go back to the same house. All of us. And so, you know, we'd stay up late at night chatting. And then we didn't have the interpreters there in the house with us, you know, because that was my experience, what it would naturally look like, me growing up with hearing friends. So, you know, the whole game that was portrayed in the movie, we tried to pick up games where you would get fucked up and you would, you know, party, you know, and that would happen often at home. You know, that's what we did to enjoy ourselves. But we would sit there and we would chat, you know, and with that socialization, they learned to sign more, and that really helped the whole 4 weeks living together, because it was during the film production, and so that helped a lot.
And I think some of the actors actually have learned sign language since
then.
the movie.
We had time blocked out with them, with Crystal Matthews, with each actor had time blocked out
Oh, yeah.
after they were casted, and
And Mulaney,
and
yeah.
Mulaney.
Well, first it was a woman named Alexandra Wales, who did the signing at the Super Bowl, by the way, this last Super Bowl, which was really a treat to see her do that.
She will return our calls.
Now, yeah.
Not that we call her.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, congratulations. That's
Thank you very
amazing.
much.
On behalf of Jet Set Global Media, congratulations.
Thanks.
How was the challenge for you to find all these characters?
For the actors?
The actors.
Yeah. Well, we are New York based, so we had a good pool of actors to choose from. The Broadway, you know, crowd, the off-Broadway crowd, they're all fine actors. And we just had our casting process. I'll talk about you specifically. You know, we found our other actors through, there were several that we liked, okay? And then I felt like we didn't settle on an Aaron, like there was a couple that, yeah, and I remember thinking from one audition for Aurora that she did this, I kept on looking at this tape saying, but that's her, and then she wasn't available to come back and, you know, for the callbacks or anything, and we went through that whole process, and I just still was set on Aurora, and it really worked out. I mean, she was phenomenal. So it's a really great. And then on Sandy's front, we were lucky. It just so happened that Broadway had Spring Awakening, which is they adapted Spring Awakening as a kind of a deaf component, where there were half the cast was deaf, and the other half was not, and that gave us a big pool of deaf actresses. So we were like, yes. So we made some connects, and we had several fine actresses audition for us. But I swear, when we saw Sandy, it was not even another choice. It was not at all. She's it. And now that's how we felt. So I hope that answers your question about our casting process. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Okay, so the interpreter's gonna copy beside me. Just a really quick question, it's two-part. So for the first one, was there some type of like distribution deal? Like when you were looking for signups, did you contact multiple places? Did you try to like reach out to Netflix? That would be the first question.
Okay. And
then the second one would be, would you guys work with the deaf community again on a different movie?
Absolutely. The answer to the second question, absolutely. Like it was, to quote Brandon in the movie, it's a no-brainer. I mean, there's no doubt that we would work with the deaf community, and I have no problem, and I'm sure Eric as well, writing deaf characters. I mean, in this film, we didn't, and it's something that Sandy brought up, we didn't make the movie for a deaf angle. We didn't do that. We incorporated a deaf person, a deaf character into the community of the film. And so we didn't like try to overdo taking advantage of every little thing that's deaf. It's just that here she is. And that's the way we could approach it for another film, where if we have a deaf character and she's friends with other characters who are hearing, there's gonna be some history there. That's another great way to show the history of characters without having to like explain, hey, remember high school and remember, you know, this and that? No, we just show them signing together and like you get it, that they must know each other for a very long time. To answer your first question, we are talking to distributors now. We have a sales rep, and we're very excited about that. We've had some offers, so we're fielding offers with distributors now.
You know, let me just add that what you saw tonight is an open caption version, but this movie is made for mainstream audience, and the yellow subtitling would be what, you know, hearing audiences would see. Oh, and you know, it's a mainstream audience.
Yeah, it's for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, you have a question right here.
Okay, so I know Sandra, so what I wanted to know, so before the moment ended, Sandra, I'm just trying to see the part where you were banging on the wall at the very end in an attempt to prank the demons. How did you feel with that, that feeling of safety, that all of your friends were good? I'm sorry, okay, yes. I'm sorry that I forgot for just a moment that I had to wait for the interpretation to finish before I started with my answer. So for me, it was just, you know, like a normal feeling that everybody was safe. You know, it was not something that I had to wait to hear that they were, that you don't have to be hearing to save people. It was that, not so much that the demon was no big deal, but it was being able to, I don't think that we can necessarily say that one is better than the other, or that no big deal, please. You know, I didn't think of it like that. So it just, the story made sense for me just to do it. You know, as long as I was able to memorize the lines, and you know, and then I watched how everything just, you know, flowed together. So me trying to bang on nothing, it was kind of weird, but then like seeing here on the big screen, I was like, oh, that turned out really nice. Thank you.
I think we have time for like maybe one more question.
Sequel?
You set
Yes.
it up. You set it up.
We did set it up for a sequel. There's some mystery there, what's going on with Grace's belly.
It's ready, Dave.
Yeah. But we actually have a lot that we're planning with this kind of dark universe. I think you saw from the title sequence and some of the discussion during the film about the dark, you know, 7 Princes of Hell. And this is the beginning. This is the Beelzebub story of how Beelzebub made it here. And there will be other Princes of Hell. And I'm sure you've heard of Lucifer and Leviathan and Asmodeus, and I don't know if you're into this stuff, but we are. So that's a world that we want to explore, and how all of them make their way here to bring about the Armageddon, and that there's an opposing force from heaven and working with angels to stop that from happening. So we have a lot planned for this idea, and hopefully our distributors will see that as well and let us keep making this stuff. That's it.